Yo, what's poppin'? People, your boy Snacks is back in the building with another banger. You know how we do. Before we get started, we got to give a shout out to you, the viewer, for taking the time out to watch this video. But while you're here, do us a solid, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to turn your post notification bell on. Make sure you jump in that member section because we got a lot coming. So if you want to be a member, just click in that little section right there, click that join button, pick you one, and come on in. But you know we cannot do a video without acknowledging our beautiful ladies of the CU aunties. So if you see a CU auntie in the chat or in the comment section, make sure you give them a shout out, and most importantly, please be respectful. Some of y'all don't know how to act, so do what we do. You know what I'm talking about? Don't make us come find you out in these YouTube streets. You figure, deal me? But anyway, man, we gonna get into it because Joe Flacco is out the way. Dillon Gabriel is the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, which, as of right now, puts Shedeur Sanders at QB2. But there are options. There are things that can be done. And I like other options. Now, I'll tell you why. I just don't trust the Cleveland Browns to do right by Shedeur. We ain't going to be here long, but we going to talk about it. You ready? Let's go. As we jump into week number 6 of the Cleveland Browns regular season, and Dillon Gabriel is now the starter. Shedeur Sanders has been temporarily put at QB2. I don't like that. I need him to go back to QB3 because I don't trust Kevin Stefanski and the Cleveland Browns. Being at QB2 behind Dillon Gabriel puts Shedeur Sanders in a precarious position to where if Dillon Gabriel goes down, he has to come into the game and finish the game off. At QB3, as an unactivated quarterback, whoever QB2 is, you go in and handle that. The reason I don't want Shedeur at QB2 because I don't trust Kevin Stefanski to do right by Shedeur Sanders, as he has proven already. And you say, what are you talking about, Snacks? Shedeur is that guy. Dillon Gabriel goes down, Shedeur comes in, handles the business, plays well, does what he can do, and get it all set up. That is true. That is somewhat true. But I was talking to the homies last night, and I was telling them, look, man, I don't trust the Cleveland Browns to do right by Shedeur Sanders as a QB2 because they didn't do right by him in that last game of the preseason. They set him up to fail, and they did it on purpose. It was without doubt that Shedeur Sanders was set up to fail on purpose in that last preseason game. Kevin Stefanski and whoever else is in charge over there wanted Shedeur Sanders to fail because Dillon Gabriel is their guy. And going into Pittsburgh this week, I would rather have Bailey Zappi as QB2 because the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be headhunting little Dillon Gabriel. And if Shedeur Sanders has to come in to back up Dillon Gabriel, I don't think Kevin Stefanski would set him up to prevail in the proper manner, even with a small game plan. But I am not the only one that prefers Shedeur Sanders as QB3. Former Cleveland quarterback Cody Kessler, who knows all about the Cleveland Browns, who has played for the Cleveland Browns, gives us the exact reason I told my homeboys why I like Shedeur at QB3 rather than QB2.
That he's 3, and everyone on the outside is making that a big deal. But to me, when you go into a game, you game plan for the starter. You have a little tiny section that's called the emergency section in case your backup comes in. I don't want Shedeur doing that. I think him staying at 3 right now, say Dylan goes out there, knock on wood, I hope nothing bad happens to him, but he gets hurt or he's not playing good and they yank him at halftime. Then if you put Shedeur in as at number 2, he's going to be trying to go out there and play Dylan Gabriel's game plan. It's not going to be tailored to him. If you take Gabriel out or he gets hurt or anything happens, let Flacco finish the game, but after that, he can't be the starter going forward. Now you go to Shedeur, because if you go back to Flacco, you're losing the locker room. So I don't mind him being at 3 for that exact reason. If he becomes a starter when that time comes, I think it will, jump to 1, and then you get a game plan that's tailored to you instead of a small emergency section in case you have to come in.
I agree with Cody 1,000%.
A 2 is almost worse than being a 3.
Who cares about being the backup quarterback?
If you're a 2, you are sitting there like, please, God, do not get hurt. If you get hurt, I got to go in. And yes, you know the offense, sure. But the offense, the game plan is tailored to your strengths. Dylan's strengths aren't Shedeur's strengths. Shedeur's weaknesses aren't Dylan's weaknesses. They're going to put that game plan as if Dylan Gabriel is playing all 4 quarters, but I have a small section in case Flacco or Shedeur needs to come in. You don't want that to be your opportunity. So that's why I'm fine with him being number 3.
And I agree with Cody. I don't trust Kevin Stefanski to do right if Shedeur has to cover for Dylan Gabriel. And I wouldn't know if going to Pittsburgh to play the Steelers that Dylan Gabriel would be safe, because the Steelers like to headhunt. Last year, when the Steelers played the Indianapolis Colts and AR5 and Joe Flacco was the backup, Mike Tomlin specifically told them, hey, do not hurt him, because we don't want Joe Flacco coming in. And I feel like that would be the same thing. They would tell them, do not hurt Dylan Gabriel, because we don't want Shedeur coming in to play this game. But I wouldn't trust Kevin Stefanski to put Shedeur Sanders in the proper space to be successful during that backup period. Reason being, let's stop with that right now, because Joe Flacco was traded yesterday. We're going to come back to Shedeur Sanders and this other stuff. But Joe Flacco was traded to Cincinnati on yesterday. And Fox 8 in Cleveland caught up with Shedeur Sanders and asked him specifically, did he talk to Joe? Had he heard from Joe? And what was his response? I will give you this exclusive Fox 8 interview in its entirety.
Getting traded to Cincinnati.
Oh, Joe Flacco getting traded. He was definitely somebody I leaned on for wisdom, and I feel like he helped me a lot. He helped me a lot while my time being here in Cleveland and his time being here in Cleveland. So now, everybody has their own destinies and have their own plans they have in life. So I'm just happy for him.
Have you talked to him yet?
Yeah, I seen him in the facility. I seen him.
Before or after the news?
Yeah, after for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he told me, I'm like, dang, that happened quick. Like, that was crazy.
What is one thing that Joe maybe has taught you or has instilled in you in your few months together here?
He's definitely a person that adjusts to any situation he's in. He's an old man, so it's funny though. So I always bring the youngness out of him, and he always smiles, and just funny things I do overall, because he understands where I'm at right now.
He always said during training camp that you would always crack jokes in the quarterback meeting rooms, and that you always found a way to make him smile. Is that something you're going to miss about seeing him around there?
Nah, for sure. seeing the old man smile for sure. But I think that's my impact. That's what I try to do everywhere I am. I always try to bring a different energy and a different level of comfortability within anybody I'm around. I always want to make sure, my impact, is felt, and I always have positive energy. That's why I never understand the negative stuff about me, because, if anybody met me, I'm a great guy.
Shedeur told me he first found out about the trade while in a team meeting today for a game planning meeting for this weekend's game against Pittsburgh. Joe was also there. And when I asked Shedeur if he's been named Dillon Gabriel's backup, he said he didn't know, but insisted to me that he's, quote, ready. I'm always ready, end quote. The Browns released an unofficial depth chart this afternoon. Sanders is listed as the backup. They do have veteran Bailey Zappi on the practice squad. They could promote him at some point this week. The Browns had today off, but they will return to practice tomorrow. Meanwhile, get this, adding more drama to this situation, guys. The Browns will play the Bengals in the final game of the season.
I knew you.
And that is a Fox 8 exclusive from PJ Ziegler there in Cleveland. Caught Shedeur at a local car dealership. I don't know if he was there doing promo or just shopping around for something sexy. Yeah, but that's the entire exclusive. I know you've seen the clips, but we give it to you the whole thing. But as you see, Shedeur say he ready. All I need is my opportunity. But I want his opportunity to be whole, simply because I don't trust Kevin Stefanski in a game where Dillon Gabriel gets hurt and Shedeur has to follow him. The reason being is because Cleveland is still putting out this narrative that Shedeur is not ready. They're giving it to these reporters like we're trying to train him up, when we all know that he's ready. We've seen it. But they still are putting it out. And one of the Browns beat reporters or sideline reporters, Aditi Kikabala, was on UCSS yesterday. And once again, regurgitated as much.
Or will we see Shedeur at some point? Or somebody else?
I think if he's healthy.
Barring he's healthy,
right.
Will he start the rest of the year?
I think Shedeur still has quite a bit of growth to show. You may see Shedeur, but I don't know that that's because he's looking better or done more or beaten out Dillon Gabriel. Unless there's suddenly, instead of growth, there's maybe if Shedeur does that, then that would change the dynamic. But you might see him because Jimmy Haslam said in training camp that you need to get a look at these two quarterbacks, these two rookie quarterbacks. That might be part of it.
I think at some point this season.
And that's what I'm talking about. There's their man. But for some reason, he still needs to grow. He doesn't understand everything. He's not ready. But just like I was saying when I was talking to my boys yesterday, and then Chris Canty reaffirmed the same questions I was asking my fellas. We're going to get into that in a minute. I was asking them. Now, Shedeur's QB2, but why? QB2 has to be ready to go at any point in time during the football game. QB2 has to know everything that QB1 knows and be ready to go just in case. Whether it's quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, quarter four, QB2 has to be ready. Now that Shedeur Sanders is QB2. So if Shedeur, you trade Joe Flacco, since you moved Dillon Gabriel up to QB1, which puts Shedeur Sanders at QB2. Question is, do you move Bailey Zappi up to QB2? But if Shedeur wasn't ready to be QB2 last week, when you had Joe Flacco, why all of a sudden is he ready to be QB2 this week? Was his growth on the shortest week of your practice and your travel so exponentially different that, okay, we think he's ready now that he can be QB2? Or has he always been ready and you just holding him back? This is what has me perplexed. This is what makes me say, I can't trust the Cleveland Browns. And if Shedeur Sanders is QB2 and he gets in the game, I can't trust that they would put him in the most advantageous place for him to succeed. It's incomprehensible. It's unthinkable. Magically, in less than a week, now he's ready to be QB2. When 3 days ago, Sunday, he wasn't ready. But today is Wednesday. So yesterday was Tuesday. He ready to be QB2 in 2 days. Somebody lying somewhere. And Chris Canty, on Unsportsmanlike this morning, laid it out just that way.
I did not think about this until yesterday this way. Emmett Golden, ESPN Cleveland, and our teammate here at ESPN Radio on game night said, I feel now more than ever like Deshaun Watson actually may have a chance to play again for the Cleveland Browns. They have one less quarterback. Bailey Zappi is the practice squad veteran third-string guy. If these guys are not that good, hypothetically, or they don't feel comfortable going to Shedeur, is Watson now back on the table?
Well, I'm not going to dismiss the Deshaun Watson of it all. I do think he's in play, and I think that's more of a conversation to have in November and December than one that we have in October. But not to gloss over what this means for Shedeur, now he's the number 2 quarterback. He's one hit away from going in the game. Mm-hmm. And so when you ask the question, is he more likely to play, the obvious answer is yes. We were sitting here yesterday having the conversation around whether or not we'd ever see Shedeur this season, based on what Dillon Gabriel showed against the Minnesota Vikings and Joe Flacco being the number 2 quarterback. But when I saw this news from the Browns' perspective yesterday, the first thing I thought was, why is Shedeur Sanders good enough to be the number 2 quarterback this week, but he wasn't good enough to be the number 2 quarterback last week? What was the football reason that you had him third string when you decided to elevate Dillon Gabriel and give him his first NFL start? To me, that's the part that I couldn't square. Because if you sold me on the bit about Joe Flacco being more equipped to go into the game without taking a lot of reps throughout the course of the week with the game plan, from a mental standpoint, that makes sense because Joe Flacco has 2 decades worth of NFL experience. If you got to tap him on the shoulder mid-game because things have gone off the rails, he would be better equipped to do that than Shedeur Sanders.
Sure.
But that logic goes out the window when you decide to trade Joe Flacco this week and elevate Shedeur to the number 2 quarterback. I just don't understand what Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry are thinking in terms of the rhyme and reason and why they're handling the quarterback situation this way. I mean, you got a better chance at getting a Trump tax return than figuring out what the Cleveland Browns are trying to do at the quarterback position. And so that's why I think this situation could be volatile for Kevin Stefanski. He's got to be careful in terms of how he handles this now, because there's a ton of pressure on him to make sure that he gets the most amount of information for Andrew Berry when it comes to what they need to do at the quarterback position long term.
This is why I tell you, I can't trust them. You can't trust people who are saying one thing and showing you another thing. These Brown beat reporters or these team reporters or these local reporters are not pulling this information out of thin air. This is what they're getting from Cleveland. Cleveland is telling them Shedeur is not ready. He's not ready. And they've been saying it for so long. And I keep telling you, they are lying to you. They just don't want you to see him play. They have to prove themselves right. Now, what makes you think I would trust the Browns with Shedeur if he is QB2 and has to replace Dillon Gabriel? Who's to say they won't tell Dillon Gabriel, oh, you hurt, you got a little limp, we gonna keep you out the rest of the game. Second quarter, we gonna put Shedeur in to finish it. We need you to heal up because we gonna need you the rest of the season. No, we can't trust that. We can't trust them. We know they'll do it. They'll do it just to say we gave him his shot. And like we've been telling you, he's not ready. I wouldn't expect Shedeur to fail at any of those moments. But giving him a week of preparation with the offense, with the wide receivers, putting a game plan in place, then the entire team is involved. Then the team as a whole know what to expect. Coming in as a backup, you don't know what to expect. You don't know what they can change up. Even though you know the game plan and the team knows the game plan, they can say, well, we were dumbing it down to help Shedeur out, which we would know is unnecessary and not needed. But that's how it happens. People are in the first law of nature is self-preservation. And that seat is getting hot under Kevin Stefanski's butt cheeks. And in order for him to save himself, Shedeur would have to fail. So what do you think he would do? Exactly. But anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think. Don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let me know what y'all think about Kevin Stefanski. Don't forget, join the membership, do what you do. The Browns is dysfunctional. And by drafting these two quarterbacks, it has been chaos since the draft. But we got another video. We're going to make a video on that. So I'm going to get out of here, man. Y'all have a good day. I really need to take a nap. I just got out of work. It's 7 o'clock in the morning, and I'm making this video. But I'm going to drop y'all another one before I take a small nap. I'm going to get out of here. Y'all be easy. I'm going to holler at y'all. Peace out.